Welcome to the free Network Configuration Manager training session. Network Configuration Manager is a part of IT Operations Management Solutions, and we have other solutions like Op Manager, which is a performance monitoring solution. NetFlow Analyzer is a bandwidth and traffic monitoring solution. Firewall Analyzer is a firewall management solution which manages firewalls with logs and policies. Oputils is useful for switch port and IP address management. And then Applications Manager, which is helpful in managing all your applications and servers. My name is Renuka Govindarajan, and I will be your trainer for today's session. I've been with ManageEngine for 2 years, and I'm a product expert in Network Configuration Manager. So this is the first part of the two-part series, and in this session, we'll be talking about configuration backup and disaster recovery. In the second session, we'll be talking about config-led compliance, RBAC, and reports. The second session will be on December 10th. Before I start the training, let me tell you that the training presentation and the materials will be sent by email within 24 hours. So let us start the session. Before we go into the session, let me tell you why a configuration management tool is necessary. With the growing business needs, a lot of configuration management takes place. For example, if you're a network admin and you have a set of devices to manage, and if you want to make changes to a device, you have to log into a device and make changes manually. This can be an error-prone technique because as you make a lot of changes, you may lose track of changes or you may make errors while making changes. This can lead to faulty configurations, which can lead to network outage and degrades your entire network performance. This is why you need a tool for configuration management. With the help of a configuration management tool, you can minimize configuration errors, quickly detect changes in real time, roll back configuration changes in critical devices like core, routers, firewalls, etc. You can stay compliant to industry standards, and you can streamline the entire maintenance process. Network Configuration Manager is one such configuration management tool which will help you perform configuration tasks like scheduling different configuration tasks, compare different configuration versions, detect changes in real time. Also, you can roll back configuration changes in critical devices like routers and firewalls. Also, you can control who can access certain network devices. Also, you can be compliant with industry standards like HIPAA, SOX, PCI, and also upgrade firmware remotely in several devices. So let me tell you the agenda for today's session. In today's session, we'll be talking about the requirements for installing Network Configuration Manager. Then we'll see how to discover devices and also about device templates. We'll be talking about credentials, configuration backup, and uploading configurations. We'll see how real-time change detection works and how to detect changes and track changes. We'll also be talking about firmware vulnerability management. Firmware vulnerability management is a new feature which was released a month ago, and then we'll be talking about disaster recovery. So the minimum system requirements needed for NCM to function in your environment are 2 GHz dual-core processor, 4 GB RAM, 100 GB storage, PostgreSQL, MS SQL. NCM works on both Windows and Linux. Note that the given specifications are for an environment with 50 devices or less than 50 devices. If your environment consists of more than 50 devices, please refer the system requirements. So the ports and protocols required for NCM to function in your environment are SSH, SCP, TFTP protocols, and the ports which are needed are 69 TFTP, 22 SSH SCP, 514 syslog, 13306 Postgre database, and 8080 HTTP. So let me tell you how device discovery works. Network Configuration Manager uses SNMP profiles V1, V2, and V3. So there is a discovery engine in NCM which will send SNMP requests to all the nearby devices. On receiving the SNMP request, the device will send a subject ID. This subject ID will be received by the discovery engine, and NCM will try to match this received sysobject ID with that of the default sysobject ID. And if a match is found, the device will be added and associated. If a match is not found, then you will have to add the device manually. So, for discovering devices, you can use two methods. One is SNMP discovery, and the other one is manual addition. Using SNMP discovery, you can discover all the devices which have SNMP enabled in them. So SNMP device discovery works in three ways. One is if you want to add a specific device, you can just provide its IP address. If you want to add a number of devices, you can provide an IP range by giving the start IP and the end IP. Also, you can import a CSV file, which should be in the format shown on the screen. Then for manual addition, you have to provide an IP address, host name, vendor, device template name. Also, you can import a CSV file, which is separated by a comma, the host name, device template name, series, model separated by a comma. Let me show this to you in the UI. This is the UI of Network Configuration Manager, and in order to discover devices, go to Settings and click on Discovery. Here, you can see that you can give a particular IP address or specify an IP range or import CSV file. So I'm going to give an IP range. So let me select a credential profile which is public. Now I'm clicking on discover. So the discover process will be initialized and you can see it live about what the status of the discovery is. So I want to see how many devices are discovered. Here you can see that these three devices already exist in the inventory and some of the devices are not reachable. In that case, if you're sure of the credentials, you can add the device by clicking on that particular device and by giving add to inventory. Here you can provide the host name, IP address, choose a vendor, a device template name, series, model, etc. and click on add. That particular device will be added to the inventory. Now let us move on to manual addition. So manual addition, for discovering devices manually, click on the inventory. Click on the plus symbol. Here you can provide the IP address, choose a vendor, a device template name, series, model, etc. You can also import devices from a text file. Make sure that the format is not altered. Here you can see different examples. So once you discover devices, it will be added to the inventory. Let's move on to the next slide. During device discovery, you might encounter an error which says device is not responding for SNMP request. The common cause may be an incorrect SNMP read community or SNMP may be disabled in the device. So make sure to give the proper SNMP read community, and if your SNMP is disabled, log into the device using a telnet or a putty and enable SNMP in that device. Some other error may be the device is reachable, SNMP community is correct, but still the device is not getting added. This can be due to the sysobject ID not being mapped with any of the device template. So in order to map the sysobject ID, you have to query the device and map it to the particular sysobject ID. Another reason might be a default device template might not be available in NCM for a particular device type. So in that case, you have to add a new device template, or if there is an existing device template which goes close to the particular device template which you want to create, then you can clone it. You can also contact NCM support. Now, what is a device template and what are they used for? Device templates carry vendor-specific configuration commands. For example, if your network consists of different vendors such as Juniper devices, Cisco, etc., you don't have to remember the configuration command for each and every vendor. All you have to do is associate the device template which belongs to one particular vendor and apply it on devices. Network Configuration Manager provides device templates for the following configuration commands. They are configuration backup, uploading configuration, enabling, disabling syslog, fetching hardware information, etc. So let me show this to you. Go to settings, click on device management and choose device templates. Here you can see all the device templates which are present. In order to delete a device template, all you have to do is click on the delete option, or you can clone a device template. Also, you can export device template, make changes and import it. Now I'm going to clone a device template. So here you can give a new name for the device template since you're cloning it. You can provide a description. Also, you can choose a vendor. With a new vendor, you have to specify the vendor's name. Likewise, you can choose the device type, and if it's a new device type, specify the device type here. Click on next, and here you can edit the commands. Before edit the commands, you can choose the protocol and configure CLI commands. So I'm choosing SSH TFTP protocol, and here I can edit all the configuration commands for that particular protocol. You can also set a timeout value. Then click on next. Here you can provide a sysobject ID, series and the model name. If you're not sure of a sysobject ID, you can query the device, provide the host name and associate the sysobject ID which belongs to that particular host name. Click on save. Once you click on save, the device template which you added will be displayed in the All Templates tab. Also, you can see the shared device templates which is shared by network administrators from around the world. If you want our support team to create a new template for you, you can request for a new template. Moving on to backup credentials. Backup credentials are available in 4 possible combinations. They are SSH, Telnet, SSH TFTP, Telnet TFTP, SSH SCP, SNMP TFTP. Now let me tell you how SSH Telnet works. Network Configuration Manager will create a communication channel between itself and the device, and through this communication channel, the configuration backup commands will be sent. So, on receiving the configuration backup commands, the device will send the corresponding configuration file, which will be received by NCM, encrypted and stored in the database. Now, SSH SCP. NCM will establish a communication channel between NCM and the device, and through the SSH channel, it will send the configuration commands, and on receiving it, the file will be transferred using SCP. This file will be received by the SCP server, and it will be encrypted and stored in the database. SSH Telnet TFTP also works in a similar manner, where NCM will send the configuration backup commands through the communication channel and receive the configuration file using TFTP, which will be received by the TFTP server, and then it will be encrypted and stored in the database. For SNMP TFTP, there won't be a communication channel, but just SNMP request, which will be received by the device. Once the device receives the SNMP request, it will send the corresponding configuration file using TFTP, which will be received by the TFTP server, encrypted and stored in the database. Now, how do you provide credentials? So, on the left hand side, you can see the telnet or a putty, and you will be providing certain credentials to log into the device using a telnet or a putty. So you can use same credentials for NCM as well. Here you can identify the credentials which will be present in NCM. Here's an example which shows the execution by directly going to the enable mode. Here's another example for providing credentials for a 3COM router. Once you provide the credentials, you can save and test by trying to transfer a file. If the file transfer is successful, then it means the credentials are correct. So let me tell you how to provide credentials. Here on the inventory, you can see a key icon. Click on the key icon. Here you can see there are different columns for which you can provide credentials. Here's a login name, password prompt, enable username, enable password, enable prompt. Once you're sure of the credentials, you can give save. And if you want to test it, you can give save and test. Also, you have to associate a credential profile. If you have a lot of devices which use the same credential, you don't have to give the same credential again and again. All you have to do is create a profile, and once you create a profile, you can add the profile to all the devices which share similar credentials. So during file transfer, you might encounter an error which says credentials are valid, but the file transfer has failed. This can be due to TFTP or SCP servers not being in a started mode. So in order to change it, check the running status of the TFTP or SCP server by going to NCM server settings. Go to settings, click on general settings, and choose server settings. Here you can see the status of different servers. If it's not in a running mode, you can stop service and restart it again. So moving on to configuration backup. Configuration backup is an important feature in Network Configuration Manager because backups are very important to combat network outages. So in Network Configuration Manager, you can take backup of devices using instant backup method, real-time change detection method, and scheduled backup. In an instant configuration method, all you have to do is choose the devices for which you want to backup and then click on backup option. So go to the inventory. Here you can see different devices. So choose the devices for which you want to backup. Click on the three dot icon and give backup option. Once you give the option, the configurations will be backed up. So let's move on to real-time change detection. Real-time change detection is nothing but NCM will detect changes in real time. For example, there is a Cisco device and then uh, someone logs into the device, makes changes and logs out of the device. NCM will trigger a backup of the particular device even without the admin being physically present or the admin triggering it. Let me explain to you. So suppose a user logs into a device, makes a change and logs out of the device. Syslog messages will be triggered. On receiving the syslog messages, NCM will immediately take a backup of that particular configuration. Once it takes a backup of the configuration, it will compare the configuration with the previous configuration. In case a change is detected, that particular configuration will be saved in the DB. If a change is not detected, the configuration file will be discarded. So during real-time change detection, you might encounter an error which says we don't support enable change detection. So this can be due to NCM not supporting a particular model. So in that case, you have to enable syslog by connecting to the device and executing the enable syslog commands manually. You can also contact NCM support. So let me tell you how you can enable change detection in devices. To enable change detection, click on the device, click on the three dot icon and give enable change detection option. Here you can provide the syslog server IP, vendor name, logging level, and click on update. So another error when change detection is on run is a change detection is enabled but the change is not detected. It can be due to mismatched ports. So make sure that the ports are properly configured. Also check if the syslog server is in running mode. Let's move on to schedule backup. You can schedule backup on a monthly, weekly, daily, hourly, or once a time purpose. Let me show this to you. So click on settings and choose schedule. Here you can see different schedules which are available. In order to add a new schedule, click on add, provide a schedule name. Since it's a backup process, providing this name, choose a schedule type. So configuration backup is what I want a schedule for. Also, you can choose the following options. Suppose you want to get a notification when there is a failure during backup, enable this. Also, you can exclude configuration difference from notification. Also, you can get a notification if there's a change in the configuration. Then you can associate devices on which you want to run the schedule. You can also choose a device group. Then you can provide a mail notification for which to which the mail notifications will be sent. Here you can provide the time of schedule. So once you provide the time of schedule and click on save, at that particular time, the configuration backup will automatically begin and you will receive a notification on your mail. So there can be this synonym where you might encounter a schedule failure. This can be due to incorrect device credentials. So make sure that the device credentials are correct and try again. The other reasons for backup failure are credentials may be invalid or changed. Also, you can check the ports if they're properly configured and then the servers if they are in the running mode. Sometimes the configuration file may be too huge. In that case, you have to change the timeout settings. I will show this to you. Also, sometimes the backup commands may not be supported. In that case, you have to create a new device template by cloning the closest device template or edit the commands. So let me show how to set a timeout value. So go to settings, click on device management, device templates, and just an example. Here you can see the timeout value. So you can edit it based on the size of the file. So let's move on to change management. Change management is very important because you can gain visibility into the changes made in any network device in your network environment. Also, you can know who makes the change, when and what the change is. Also, you can receive a change trend during a particular period and also see the number of lines which are being added, deleted and modified. Now, click on the inventory. Select the device on which you want to see the changes for. Click on config details. Here you can see all the details of that particular configuration. So this version is the running current startup version and this version will be the running version. Here you can see when the particular change was made, by whom the change was made, and if it's an authorized or unauthorized change. NCM also allows you to compare configurations. So by comparing configurations, you can get a clear idea of what the change is and how many lines have been added, modified, and deleted. For this, go to the inventory and click on the plus minus icon, which you can see here. Now, I'm going to compare two versions of the same configuration. Here I can see that the line in purple has been modified and the green lines have been newly added. You can see only the difference, or if you wish to see all the lines, you can give all lines and see where exactly the changes occurred. Let's move on to firmware vulnerability management. This is a new feature in NCM and it will be very useful to manage the vulnerabilities in firmware. So, using firmware vulnerability management, you can view all the vulnerabilities in your network, view the CVIDs and take remediation measure. Also, you can perform advanced CV research and generate vulnerability reports. Click on firmware vulnerability option, which you can see on the horizontal bar. Here you can see all the vulnerabilities. To drill down to see what devices have been affected by this particular vulnerability, click on the inverted triangle. Here you can see all the devices which have this vulnerability and the status of each of these devices. Also, you can see if the vulnerabilities are critical, important, moderate, low, or unrated. And you can also edit the CVE details. Here you can see what exactly the vulnerability is, when it was reported. Also, you can change the status based on your progress. Here you can see the remediation URL. You can go and see what the necessary patch fix would be. Vulnerability DB sync. So you can sync the data based on your requirement. Vulnerability data is fetched from NIST and it can be synced based on your requirement. Also, if no schedule time is set, by default, the sync will happen at 2 a.m. So go to the vulnerability and click on sync vulnerability database. Here you can see when the last successful update was and the next schedule time. If you want to change the time, you can edit it here. Or if you want to sync the data now, you can give update now option. So moving on to disaster recovery. What is a disaster in a network? A disaster can be anything like a network outage, a security breach, performance degradation, etc. In that case, you have to be prepared to combat a disaster. Network Configuration Manager helps you to overcome disasters using the following ways. One is baseline configuration, and then startup running configuration sync, change notification and rollback, and exporting configuration. What is baseline configuration? Baseline configuration is the best working configuration. And suppose there are like 100 configurations, and suppose suddenly a network outage occurs, you don't have to be worried about which configuration file would be perfect during that particular time. Instead, you can just upload the baseline configuration. So how do you choose a baseline configuration? Based on the consistency, you can choose the baseline configuration. Once you choose the baseline configuration and suppose a network outage occurs, you can directly upload the baseline configuration and save time. Click on the inventory, choose a particular version and label configuration. Here you can associate the label as baseline and click on save. So during a network outage, all you have to do is click on the device, the three dot icon, and give upload configuration. So once you upload configuration, the baseline configuration will be uploaded. During the time, you might encounter an error which says, we don't support upload feature for this device. The common cause may be, it might not be in SSH TFTP mode. Telnet or SSH does not support upload. You need TFTP or SCP in order to upload a configuration. Also, sometimes, even when SCP or TFTP protocol is not available, you can edit the device template by creating a new device template or by contacting NCM support. Now let's move on to startup and running configuration. Startup configuration is the configuration which appears when a device is rebooted. Running configuration will be the configuration which you will be using to make current changes. For example, there is a vulnerability and you have made a configuration change to fix the vulnerability, but you forgot to sync the running and startup configuration. So while reboot, the bug will not be abolished because it will still be there because of the non-sync. This is why you need to sync the running and the startup configuration. How NCM helps is it will automatically detect all the conflicts and it will help you to sync the configuration in one step. So here you can see that there is a conflict which has been detected. So in order to sync it, all you have to do is click on the device, choose the three dot icon and give sync configuration option. Once you give the sync configuration option, the startup and running configuration will be in sync. So during that, you might come across an error which says upload has failed. So you have to edit the timeout value and try again. Also check if the TFTP and SCP servers are in a running state. Another possible error is that change happens but the startup running conflict is not detected. It can be due to disabled real-time change detection. So for that, you have to enable change detection if syslog is supported. And if syslog is not supported, the running and startup configuration conflict will be detected and reported only after a next backup operation. Let's move on to change notifications and rollback. So suppose some changes made in your device. You can still receive notifications about the change. NCM provides change notifications in the form of email, SNMP trap, trouble tickets, and syslog messages. Also, in core devices like Cisco router or firewall, you can roll back configuration to the previous version or to a baseline version. So click on change management and click on plus symbol to add a particular change notification. Here you can provide a notification name, description, and you can choose the configuration type as startup or running configuration is changed, or running configuration is changed, or startup configuration is changed. You can also give a change type as authorized or unauthorized, unauthorized, or authorized. Here you can provide the email option. Here you can provide the mail ID, subject, select variables, the message, and choose the format. Also, you can give SNMP trapper providing the hostname, IP address, destination port, and community, or syslog messages by giving the hostname, IP address, and the destination port. Syslog and SNMP traps can be useful for all chain notification which you want to send to SIEMs and other network monitoring tool. You can also generate trouble tickets by providing the mail ID and other necessary details. You can give the rollback option if you don't want any change to be applied on a particular device. If you click on next, you can associate devices or device group. Choose the devices. If you want to select the device group, click on select device group and associate a device group. Then click on save. So in those devices, if any change is made, automatically you will receive a notification in the form of mail, SNMP traps, etc. Moving on to export configuration. Suppose, let us imagine that there's a complete network outage and your entire database crashes. Even during such a situation, you can still have your configuration files safely stored. So for this, you need to give the export configuration option. Go to settings, click on global settings and choose export configuration. Here you can see that you can set a schedule at which you want to export configuration. Once you provide a scheduled time, associate the devices for which you want to export all the configurations, and then give export configuration option. Once you save it at that particular scheduled time, the configuration will be exported. But if you want to export configuration for all these devices immediately, all you have to do is export configuration now. Once you give export configuration, all the configurations will be immediately exported. Now that's all about export configuration. Now we have received a few questions during the session and we have shortlisted certain questions and our device expert, Mr. Kanagraj, will be handling the Q&A session for you. So I hope you all had an informative session. Now passing on to Kanagraj.
Hi, my name is Kanaraj. I am working this product more than 10 years. In today's sessions, we got a lot of questions. We have short tested top 10 questions and we are going to answer those questions in the session. The first question is where the backup configuration file stored? If you're backing up any configuration file using Network Configuration Manager, we store the configuration file inside the database with an encrypted format for safety purpose. If you want to export the configuration in a text format, in this case, you can use the export configuration option to export the current startup and running configuration in a scheduled way. Change by name not available in the configuration file. In Network Configuration Manager, we have some limitations to get the change by information. We are getting the change by information based on the syslog messages sending by the devices. If the device backup happening through the syslog change detection feature, then only Network Configuration Manager able to capture the change by information. If the device backup happened through a scheduled backup or a manual backup, in this case, Network Configuration Manager failed to get the change by name information. What is meant by authorized changes and unauthorized changes? If you are using Network Configuration Manager tool to do the changes, those changes are marked as authorized changes. If you are using PuTTY or some other tool to do the changes, and if Network Configuration Manager detect the changes, those changes are marked as unauthorized changes. How to create a credential profile? The credential profile, okay, like you have a device that I have a lot of devices, like all the devices having the same credential, like you have 10 devices having a same credential. In this case, you don't need to manually provide the credential for 10 devices. You can create a credential profile and you can associate a credential profile for multiple devices using the single click. I will show you how to create the credential profile in Network Configuration Manager. Just go to settings, credential profile. Here you can click add. Here you just provide the credential name and the description. And here you can select the protocol. You're going to back up the device using Telnet protocol or SSH protocol or SNMP protocol. Here you can just type the login credentials like username, password, and the prompt. You can type the credentials and you can save the credential profile. Once you add the credential profile, you just go to inventory, devices, and you can select the devices and click apply credentials. Here you can select the credential profile to back up the devices. How to search a particular string in the entire configuration? For example, you want to know how many device configuration having the community string public. In this case, you can use the configuration search feature in Network Configuration Manager to find out the devices, which are the devices having the public community string. I will show you how to search the configuration file. Here we have an option called configuration search. You can click search and here you can type the value, which value you want to search, and you can click search. Once you click search, Network Configuration Manager, search the entire configuration file and it will find out the configuration versions, which are the versions having the public community string, and it will display the version numbers here. How to manage and unmanage the devices from Network Configuration Manager. For example, you're planning to put some of the devices in a maintenance mode for some time. After some time, you want to manage the devices again and you want to back up the configuration file. So instead of deleting the device and adding the device in Network Configuration Manager, you can unmanage the devices from Network Configuration Manager. Once you unmanage the devices from Network Configuration Manager, those devices act as a dummy device. None of the operations will be performed on the unmanaged devices. I will show you how to unmanage and manage the devices using Network Configuration Manager. Just go to inventory and you can select the devices, which are the devices you want to unmanage, and you just click on the actions and you can unmanage the device from here. Same way you can manage the device from here. How to create a dynamic device groups. For example, if you want to automatically add the devices into device groups, in this case you can use the dynamic device groups to create. Like for example, if you added any FortiGate devices, the devices will be automatically added into the FortiGate device group. For that one, you can create a dynamic device group. If you create a dynamic device group, if you added any FortiGate devices, the FortiGate devices will be automatically placed under the particular device group. I will show you how to create a dynamic device group in Network Configuration Manager. You just go to groups, add. Here you just provide the group name, FortiGate, and here you can use the criteria. Here you can select the vendor is FortiGate, contains FortiGate, and if you save this one, if you add any FortiGate devices, the devices will be automatically moved to the FortiGate device group. You don't need to manually add the devices into the device group. The devices will be automatically added into the particular device group. Where can I see the backup just I ran? Like once you provide the credentials and backup the devices, Network Configuration Manager communicate the device using the protocol that you have chosen there, and it will back up the current startup and running configuration, and it store the configuration file in the database. So you can click on the device and you are able to see the configuration file in a text format. I will show you how to see the configuration file in Network Configuration Manager. Just go to inventory, devices, and if you click on the device, here you're able to see the current startup and running configuration. For this device, currently we have around 364 running configuration and we have around 134 startup configuration. And if you click on the config details, and if I click on the running configuration, here you're able to see all the backup 364 configuration versions. If you click on the version, you are able to see the configuration file in a text format. Is only SNMP read community required for device discovery? Yes, we need a SNMP read community to discover the devices into Network Configuration Manager. Hope the webinar will be useful for you. The part 2 will be on 11:30 a.m. EST on 10th December. In the second session, we are going to see configures, complaints, rollback access controls, and reports. If you have any questions, you can raise the questions to our support email ID, ncm-support@managengine.com. Also, you can see our tech videos using our YouTube channel, and you can get the technical assistance using our forums. Thanks for joining the session. We will meet on next Tuesday, same time. Thank you. Bye.